It's so quiet. I'm all by myself. It's so peaceful. This never happens. Lynn's gone. The dogs are gone. It's snowing. Gotta get these slides in, unplug the power, dump, fill with fresh, get down the road. All right, hooked up. Let's get to the dump station. Get out of here. It's coming down. Just stop for fuel. I gotta say, Indiana, you're beating the crap out of our Wraith. That fell down. That's Piper's crate or cage thing. It goes up there and it came down while I was driving. Scared me. And then right here, this is the best one. The microwave door came open. I forgot to take this out. And it's like right here at the edge. If it would have fell, it would have smashed that. Looks like we have arrived. It was only a 5-hour ride. Well worth it, I'm sure. I'm calling it a night. It's been a long day. I've got the slide in. The bedroom slide is out. I'm staying in the parking lot. The stabilizers are up, so got the generator running. We got 2 electric heaters going. The furnace is going, and we got satellite. So I'm just gonna chill out and get up first thing in the morning. Good morning. It is cold out. 28 degrees. I've been sitting for about 15 minutes waiting for my window to defrost. There it goes, without me driving it. That's it. It's dropped off. They've got our baby now. So I am going to drive home. It's about 3.5, 4 hours, and I'll come back in a couple days, pick it up. I made it back to Ohio.
With a bunch of our stuff because we don't have the Wraith back yet.
No, but we are that close to getting it back.
Yeah, very close.
I'm really impressed with their efficiency because I dropped off the Wraith Monday morning, 8 a.m. and Tuesday at 11 a.m.-ish, they called and said, it's done, you can come get it.
Right, so now here we are.
Yep, this is Wednesday morning and we're miles, literally miles away from Liquid Spring.
This is phase 2. That was completed in 2019. So let's kind of go in a big circle.
Okay.
Built. I don't think they have it yet in here.
Yeah.
So you basically got a rod that goes from the axle to the frame. So basically it's up to keep everything centered and traveling correctly. So the leaf springs are removed, the shocks are removed, everything, all the factory stuff is removed off the chassis. So all you guys is 2 struts to hold the entire vehicle up now.
Yeah.
So then after you guys install that stuff, do you have to do like an alignment on it or just bolt it on it?
Yeah, it's all designed to keep everything just factory set.
Okay, so you use the same mounting points or?
We make it that way. But some that we use the existing holes already, some we have to add more. Okay. So it's all pretty much set. So. And you'll know the difference when taking out the test.
Oh, I'm sure.
It basically will simulate being on the vehicle. We can test the EC, we can test the pumps, everything. We can do all the testing here electronically, sensor. Pretend on a vehicle. I mean, we do test everything when they arrive, all the sensors, everything is tested, and then before they're even shipped out, they're tested again. So we do cut everything by laser.
Yeah.
So you can see how, and then we got the first one, we'll take a look at this bend on the metal. And then of course it's all welded and assembled to look like a kid. Volume 10. we have different size tanks. You have some on your vehicle. They got some things to much bigger diameter, but same length, but maybe about an extra 5-6 inches diameter. So these will be filled with fluid. There's a valve inside them, and that's kind of just what helps with your cushion on your ride. Well, plus there's other factors, but these rods will go inside. Well, you can see kind of how when we go to the strut room what these are really for. So. Struts, that little lane there I was showing you, the machine, pretty much all that here in alcohol material. Struts here are basically assembled by hand after they're cleaned through. But they inspect the board, they inspect the whole thing. If there's any nicks, scratches, we don't use them. Same thing with these rods, why how the funny out. So these actually will go inside the struts. Then these are protected if there's any kind of mark on those rods. So this is the power module room. You basically will have one of these on your chassis. So this is your pump assembly, your reservoir, your valves, your electrical motor, and ECU harness. So every chassis has its own ECU. And power modules are similar to what we're building them for. Right. So for your Nexus or for Ford F-450. It may look similar, but there'll just be minor things different about it. But they're all tested here, kind of like the same bits that we showed you over there. Mm-hmm. They can simulate this being on the vehicle, make sure it pressurizes, depressurizes, sensors are working correctly, ECU is working correctly. So it's all done. Like I said, everything's tested multiple times before it leaves the door. So this is our strut tester here.
Oh, okay.
One of the guys designed this in-house. Took about 2 years to build.
Wow.
It's a one-off. There's nothing on the market. They test the struts. They'll program what struts are built. They're testing. So they can recreate being on the road. The computer and everything will sense the dampening, make sure everything is correct, goes correctly. And then once it passes, they put on the shelf, but they sit for 24 hours before they're boxed up and picked out of the cup. So all these kits are sold already. I mean, they're sold. So.
How much does a kit weigh?
It varies, maybe 400 or 500 pounds.
Okay.
Because our system will add weight on top of what we produce. So.
Right.
I mean, just the fact that you're removing those big heavy spring packs, you're still not going to add as much as you would otherwise.
No.
You're still kind of balancing.
Yeah.
You're still adding, but
yeah, we're not adding that much, but yeah, we are adding. So.
I didn't realize all of this stuff happens here. You know.
We have another facility in California. That's kind of more of our R&D out there.
Okay. We can't ever have a non-windy day. Although it is like 60, 62 degrees outside, so that's nice, but man, it's windy.
wow.
That right there.
Yeah. Felt it kind of in the front and then
Yeah,
in the
you'll
back.
feel in the front just because it's still stock up front.
Right.
Okay, so now we'll go over the system. But you'll be getting in the driver's seat. So, first thing, kind of like we're going to go over, is these amber lights. Which, yeah, it's in a spot. You're not going to really mess with the interface too much anyways while you're driving. But those amber lights has got to do with the steering signal that we install. So if you turn the steering wheel left or right past 20 degrees, those lights will turn off. And you can check it right now, turn the wheel, go off.
Yep.
So what that affects is in your ride quality side. So right here it says comfort, normal, and sport. So depending on what setting you have it, and basically your steering input, your speed, and then plus what the height sensors are reading, what your chassis is doing, will adjust your body roll. So how quickly or how stiff it is going through a turn. So depending on what setting, speed, all that will affect your body roll. You can change it on the fly while you're driving. So Same thing if you're going through a bunch of rural, sharp turns, curves. You may just same thing. Try to say, all right, I'm going to keep it at sport because I know I'm going through a bunch of turns, or keep it in comfort. It's really up to your preference. The next is your height side. So the height, it's always going to be at normal when you're driving. What we try to tell people to do is when you pull up to a campground is to lower the suspension. So if you want to just press the down arrow once, so you can kind of see what the light should do. And you should feel the motorhome lowering. So I mean, if you want to step outside real quick, you can see it, or we can just...
I can feel it, I feel like.
Yeah, it's going down.
Yeah. So once the light is solid, that means, hey, I'm at low height. Then the power button, the on off red button, you want to press that before you set your jacks. So make sure you turn our system off.
Okay, or else it's going to try and...
Yes.
Okay.
So once you set your jacks, and you know our system's off, you set your jacks. Then when you're leaving, once your jacks and slide outs are all in, just turn the system back on, and you can either just leave it at low, because like what we briefly discussed, you know, when you hit the 15 mile an hour, it'll level back out on its own. Or if you just want to command it back to raise, you can just press the up arrow once, and the suspension will raise. Which yeah, I feel it raising right now.
Yeah, I can see.
And then the other feature is the high. If you're below 15 miles an hour, you can always raise and lower the suspension. If you know you're coming up to an entryway that's got a steep grade to it, and you don't want to risk bottoming out the back of the motorhome, you can just command it to raise. And that feature gets more than I expected to.
It's a cool feature.
Yeah, it is.
A lot.
And like from the feedback I get from customers down the road, you know, they said they use that more frequently than they expect to, than from what I even expect customers to use. So that's a feature you can use if you ever need to raise it, the back of the motorhome, or if you actually need, for some reason, crawl underneath it for some reason, if your jacks aren't working, or checks on underneath it, you can simply just raise the body up higher off the ground. And then same thing, if you leave it at high, you take off, you hit 15, it'll level back out on its own. The next is the fluid that we use in our system. So the fluid is a silicone base, and there's a little bit of compressibility to it, but also it will react to temperature. So you can sometimes see, depending on the temperature, if it's cold outside, you may see the suspension lower down. Perfectly normal. Same thing in the hot summer days, you may see it raised up just sitting there. So there's relief valves in the system to kind of just help keep that under control. And basically when you turn the system back on, it'll go back to its previously known setting. So if you left it at low or you left it at normal, it's going to go back to whatever height you set it at before you turn the ignition off. And you don't have to service the fluid, like engine, transmission, or anything like that. So we'll start in comfort, and then we'll pull out here and turn right. Or we'll take one or two turns in comfort, then we'll do something normal, and then we'll do it in sport, so you can feel the difference.
Like no bumps.
It's soft.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Normally it's rocking a little more. And one thing too, if you want to listen while we're doing these roads, it's the noise levels inside.
Yeah, it's quiet. I mean, I can see like the bumps in the road.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm like trying to feel from when I would
trying to feel.
So with this little tray, get up to speed if you want, like so we're in comfort, swerve a little, get the body rolling some more.
Oh yeah. I can feel.
So then if you want to put it in normal, same thing, just press the up arrow once, right there. So it's just a little, it's a different, subtle difference, but same thing.
Yeah, it does make a difference.
Which one do people normally use or choose?
Most people, it seems like the feedback we get between sport and comfort, or sport and normal.
Okay.
down this road before. I was going slower back there because I've conditioned myself.
Yeah. Well, most people notice after while they're driving a little bit faster. Or they just got bored.
Well, yeah, I mean, before I was just trying to protect the motorhome.
No, we could have hit that going way faster.
yeah.
What kind of speed bump is that?
Yeah.
So quiet now. I mean, there's still little chatters here and there, but nothing like it used to be. It's like you said, you can still feel them. You know the bump is there, but it's not like this big old jolt, shock, jarring.
It's not beating the crap out of the motorhome anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, people are always saying like, "Oh, you air ride." But I've been in air ride vehicles.
Yeah, same here.
And I would still swap out the air ride for liquid springs.
And like I said, give us feedback down the road.
Yeah.
Because you said you're going some long distance driving after this, so
Yeah.
give us some feedback.
All right. Yeah. Well,
Sounds good.
Okay.
Since we now have the upgraded to the top tier with liquid springs, something that we haven't really talked much about was our lovely addition to our refrigerator here.
It's a
Guys,
piece of cardboard. It's very
yes.
high tech.
The reason we have said cardboard under the door is because this facade panel right here is super heavy. And anytime we would hit bumps, this would come out of its track
Yeah.
and come down.
You can see there's not much of a gap here, but that plastic trim piece would come out and the panel would fall. And then when you go to open the door, the panel, just got my fingers licked, the panel would slide out and hit the floor.
Yeah, so this, thickness of this cardboard fit perfectly in there to hold everything in place when we went and hit all those bumps. So,
I dare you, I double dog dare you to pull that cardboard out and leave it out for the rest of this trip. We got about 4 hours or so to drive.
yeah, we have a ways to go.
We're gonna go through Chicago.
Yeah, and we know there's a ton of bumpy roads yet we have not hit. So,
Let's do it.
I'll take you up on that. I am skeptical.
It's scary, isn't it?
Yes, because this is just
It's stupid
it's
heavy.
just stupid heavy for what it is. It looks all right. It never happens with the freezer, only with the fridge.
Yeah.
So I guess with that being said and Piper drinking water, it's time
Right
to
on
hit the road.
cue. Oh, I interrupted you, Pipe.
She's like, how rude.
Did I interrupt your drinking?
How could you?
You can see some of her toy there by her bowl.
It's so quiet in here.
It's extremely quiet here.
We're even going over little bumps, and it's just so quiet inside. It's actually kind of crazy when you compare it to when we brought it home. Yeah, where it sounded like a freaking earthquake going off in here.
The combination of loading our stuff into it and then getting the liquid springs. It's like night and day, literally.
Yeah,
There's just no comparison.
they're so far, no, they're like the top tier, like I said. So far, well worth it.
Oh yeah.
It just wouldn't be a Wagner trip if there wasn't rain and wind and all kinds of crazy weather.
It's definitely a bad day for solar.
Yeah. But those windmills are pumping out the power today. Time to get a snack. Got some Doritos, gonna walk on back. Piper is hanging out on the couch. We're going. Just cruising along.
Made it 320 miles or so without our fancy
Yeah,
cardboard piece in.
doorstop.
Now, in the past, we've gone 10 miles and didn't hit any bumps, and this panel would slide down. We've gone 320 miles, and going through Chicago, it was bumpy. I mean, there was some rough spots.
There's a lot of construction, so, uneven lanes, lots of big old potholes, so moment of truth.
It's good. It's good.
It didn't fall at all?
No. It's just as it should be.
Wow.
If you hear crackling noises, it's our heater turning on.
Yeah, it's just this one. And Guy turning off.
Yes.
He's ready for bed.
It is late. For us, I mean, we're in Central Time Zone, but for us it's 6:46. We got up at 4 a.m. today. It's been a long, long day.
Yeah. And we're finally here, though.
My initial thoughts on Liquid Spring from our first day of ownership, our first 320 miles of ownership, it's literally like it's a game changer.
Is it worth it to you?
Absolutely it is. Now, if you're balling on a budget, the 18.5 springs absolutely makes a big difference. I mean, it's incredible difference between the old springs and the 18.5. But then the liquid spring suspension, it's just no competition. And I would absolutely put liquid spring above air ride.
Oh, yeah.
Without a doubt.
We've covered this well before.
Now, I don't want anybody to get butthurt what I'm about to say. Let me explain. But air ride and spring ride, they're dumb. Okay? And what I mean by that they're dumb is liquid spring is smart. It's constantly monitoring the system. I think they said it monitors or checks the system 1,000 times per second.
I think that's what they said.
And it can individually change like the pressure on each side. And if you start to lean, it knows. If you're turning, it knows. It knows how fast you're moving. It knows all of these things, and through its programming, which is done by people way smarter than me, it can compensate for all those different variables.
Yeah, and that is very... When they were explaining it to us, I was like, oh, so it's like smart. And they're like, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, air and spring, like I said, they're dumb. They're just a static thing. You pump air into an airbag, and that's what you get.
Yeah.
And this suspension will adjust and adapt.
Right. And we want to make note that it's only on the rear of this chassis.
It is not on the front yet.
They are still working on that for this chassis. So maybe in the future we will get them on the front too.
And obviously this is only 320 miles worth of testing that we've done. But it's been incredible. It really has.
Day one. As we continue to travel, we're going to continue to update you guys on what we think of the new suspension system. Right.
The liquid spring, don't think that it like completely eliminates bumps, because you'll still feel them. It's just not like this bone jarring, cabinet busting bumps.
Exactly.
And like I said, in Chicago, it was like there's some really, really rough spots. But in the past, I was like,
yes, we're both over here clinching.
And now I'm just like, oh, that was a big bump.
It's not like riding on a cloud.
It is, but it isn't. Because if you hit a big enough bump at 65 miles per hour, you're going to feel it.
Right. You can see it with your eyes.
It takes that violent jarring out of it is what it does.
It keeps your teeth secure in your head.
And keep in mind that this system has the normal suspension ride, which is what we were using. There's comfort, and then there's sport.
Right.
So we do use normal the entire ride just to get used to that. Maybe on the next trip I'll try comfort and see how it's different.
Right, because they did say that different people like different settings more. So we just have to find out what setting is our favorite.
When I was doing that road test today in sport, it was super responsive. Like when I'm swaying like this, trying to make the body rock and roll, the sport mode really caught up to it and kept it from swaying. Whereas the comfort one, it was like a boat.
Yeah. So if you have any questions or comments, leave them below. And let us know. What do you think is better?
Yeah, what do you think is better? Spring, air, or liquid spring?
Right.
But what I would say is don't blow us up with questions. Blow up liquid spring with questions, because they're the experts. I'm not the expert.
We are not experts, but
I can only give you my input.
Right. We can give you our expert opinion.
Yeah, for what that's worth.
So I think for now, we're
Yes.
going to close this out and
It's
just...
time to eat dinner. It's been a long day. The dogs are already in bed. I don't know where Piper went.
I'm not sure. She's
This
probably
might be
looking
up
for that
front.
cat.
But, yeah, we're out of here. So see ya.
See ya.